Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to have the chance to address all of you today and to join the Enterprise Metaverse Summit. I want to say a special thanks to The Economist for everything that the organization is doing to bring us together today, and also the work to help deepen the conversation about the future of the internet. My name is Nathan Naidu. I am part of the policy leadership team in Europe at Meta, where I oversee regional advocacy on a number of areas, including the metaverse. And I want to focus my remarks today on two main points. The first is that the metaverse is a natural step in a decades long trajectory of the internet. And we're already seeing enterprise use cases emerge amongst European and UK companies who see that trajectory moving forward. And the second is that Europe and the UK can have a strong position in that future internet. But the actions of a few leading companies won't be enough. We need collective national and regional level ambition to make a real go of it. So let me talk a little bit about that. And to start off, let's start with a definition of the metaverse. You'll see on this slide a description of how Meta sees the metaverse as a set of digital spaces that are interconnected, the defining quality of which will be a feeling of presence. Another way to think about this is that the metaverse is the internet. It's the future of the internet and the successor to the mobile internet. And once you understand that, some basic ideas naturally flow from it. For example, like today's internet, the metaverse isn't a single product. It's a constellation of technologies, platforms, and products, which is partly why it's so hard to define. It also can't be built by one company alone. You need a broad ecosystem of actors from across the economy and society to make it work, just like the internet today. And as I mentioned, the defining quality of the metaverse will be a feeling of presence. This is what will be really different about the metaverse and the internet that we have today. It will feel like you are right there with another person in another place. Your experiences online will be more immediate, like face to face conversations. They'll be more embodied so that you can use a glance or a gesture in order to communicate. And they'll be more immersive. So it will feel like you're moving from staring at a screen to being inside of the internet in a shared virtual space with other people wherever they're based. Now, it can be easy to think of this as a new idea, but the reality is that we have been moving toward an ever more immersive internet for decades now. We've gone from mainframe computing in the 1950s, when computers was something that you did only at work, to the 1980s with occasional access to the internet through personal computers. In the 2000s, we gained continuous access to the mobile internet through smartphones and tablets. And in that way, computing has become more personal. It's become something that we take with us throughout our lives. The internet has also become more visual in that time as the capabilities of smartphones have improved. Look at, for example, the evolution of social media from text to pictures to video today. And in that, the metaverse is a natural part of the overall progression of the internet. It's the next step toward an ever more immersive internet that increasingly reflects the way that we interact with the physical world in real time and in three dimensions. Now, I know you're probably thinking, isn't the future of the internet AI? And the answer is yes. The metaverse and AI are inextricably linked. A breakthrough in computer vision is actually what enabled Meta to, for example, ship the first standalone VR device. And what you see here on the slide is a visual representation of what's possible through Segment Anything, which is a new data set and AI model that we released earlier this year. You can imagine how a step change in the ability to identify objects might one day be useful to enable augmented reality glasses to assist someone to pick up the right tool on a factory floor, or to find the right product on a grocery shelf. At every layer of the metaverse tech stack, we are going to see AI embedded, from infrastructure all the way up to virtual worlds and avatars. AI will play a critical role. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like in practice. Imagine a world where employee training isn't limited by the parameters of your laptop or the meeting room that you're convening in, or where digital sales are growing because customers can experiment with products before they buy them, where designers from across the world are collaborating to create prototypes without having to build them physically and ship them across borders, or where digital twins, which are immersive online replicas, are helping to build new spaces for collaboration and community across a distributed workforce. Most of this stuff is already happening. Companies like Siemens, BMW, and others are using VR to do prototyping and design. They're saving money and time and reducing their environmental impact while they're doing that. In Belgium, the Adeco Group just piloted a program to train forklift drivers in VR. And apart from being safer and more cost effective, that's also a way to scale access to training for one of the most scarce skills in the labor market. And many of you will have already experienced how IKEA has been improving their customer selection and purchasing experience for years using augmented reality. So I can see my sofa in my living room before I buy it. The key thing that I want to get across here is the reality that many companies in Europe and the UK are already moving ahead, seeing that they can unlock value for their employees and customers today, and that early adoption of immersive experiences will put them on the front foot as the wider internet catches up. Just think about the journey that companies went through as we shifted to the mobile internet. And ask yourself if most, in hindsight, wish that they had begun that adaptation process a bit earlier. Now, the impact of this, aggregated over millions of businesses and billions of people, has the potential to unlock real economic value. A new research series with Deloitte estimates that by 2035, the metaverse could add over $3 trillion in global GDP. In the EU, a report commissioned by Meta and produced by Deloitte puts that figure on the upper end at nearly $500 billion. And here in the UK, the estimate is up to 75 billion in potential annual increase to GDP. Now, that's the big picture of how the metaverse represents the next step in the internet and how we're already seeing enterprise use cases proliferate amongst leading companies who see the economic potential. These organizations, they aren't just leveraging the benefits of immersive tech. They're also building the muscles to be able to leverage it over the long term. The boring stuff, the budget lines, device management solutions, the employee usage guidelines, all of the things that create a gap between the mainstream availability of tech solutions and their transformative impact. Those gaps are being closed in offices around Europe and the UK. And I said I had a second point, which is that that is great, but it is not enough. The actions of a few leading companies won't suffice to put the region in a truly strategic position in the future of the internet. The metaverse is just too big for that. We need instead a rich network of partnerships across all sectors of the economy and society. Building partnerships is core to how Meta is approaching the metaverse. We have, for example, partnerships with civil society organizations around the world, organizations like Women in Tech in Brussels or Color in Tech here in the UK, who are helping, for example, to ensure that the metaverse is not just used, but also built by people of diverse backgrounds and from diverse communities. On the commercial front, partnerships are also critical to unlock the verticals of the digital economy of the future. And to that end, we've partnered with BMW to explore how the future of AR and VR devices can enhance the smart car experience. We've also partnered with the Italian giant EssilorLuxottica, the parent company of Ray-Ban, to integrate smart technology into glasses. There's no path to the metaverse without these broad partnerships. And you can see here again how European companies are playing a leading role in this space. But true leadership in an immersive digital economy, and indeed the policy solutions to make that possible, are going to require action from government as well. In my role at Meta, I have a front row seat to how governments are increasingly recognizing this and starting to take action by establishing, for example, formal public private dialogues, new research programs to take advantage of Europe's strengths in deep tech, and programs for next generation digital skills training. Governments also have a role to play in ensuring the basic architecture of the metaverse is open and interoperable, like the internet that we have today. And that means supporting international efforts to develop baseline technical standards, like the work being undertaken by the Metaverse Standards Forum, of which we are a founding member. As policymakers in Europe think about how to create the right frameworks for the Internet of Tomorrow, ensuring that interoperability is workable, enshrined, and strongly supported will be critically important. We're also in conversation with a number of governments that realize the wider need for them to play a proactive role in capturing the metaverse opportunity. They're taking action to avoid a piecemeal approach and to look at how to foster interoperability, partnerships, and a broad national vision through country level strategies. We're actually working with The Economist to help map out the enabling factors that countries should consider as they seek to become metaverse ready. Look out for that later on this year. As I said at the beginning, the metaverse is coming, and for many leading companies, the practice of leveraging immersive tech is part of the present, not just the future. If Europe and the UK are to go beyond that and genuinely harness the power of this next generation of the internet, we're going to need even more companies taking the plunge to experiment with how they can use immersive technologies, and even more governments committing to bold national strategies. I'm really delighted to be able to say that there are signs that both are happening today. You can be sure that we at Meta will continue to invest in making the metaverse a reality, and we look forward to partnering with many of you along that journey. Thanks so much for having me today. Looking forward to the rest of the summit.